Hello, this is Sweet June 2010. Back at you doing my part 2 on why black people have a hard time unifying and building economic power in our communities. And it was like I was saying, we have people opening businesses up in our communities. Instead of us opening our own businesses in our own communities, we got other people of other races building businesses up in our communities. That's a problem. The hair care industry, the black hair care industry, is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Not multi-million-dollar, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Now, out of all the billions of dollars that this black hair care industry makes, particularly selling, mainly selling wigs and hair pieces, out of that percentage of billions of dollars, how much of that percentage is made by African Americans? Good question. I'd be willing to guess probably very little, because most of the time other races of people are owning the hair stores in all these black communities. And I was talking to a brother today. He's what they call a booster. He sells, he sells bootleg CDs. I mean, probably every city has them. I mean, they probably do that in every black community. You got brothers in every black community that's probably doing that across the board. He sells bootleg music, bootleg movies, and that's his hustle. I'm not gonna say his name, obviously, but that's his hustle. That's what he does. I asked him today. We were having, in my town, our city where I live, they were having they call it a Juneteenth celebration. It's got something to do with, I think that was the day that the slaves were freed or something like that. I think it's got something to do with that. But they were having a Juneteenth celebration down at the African American Park. Well, that's not exactly what they call it. But I'm not going to use that word on here. I'm going to call it the African American Park, where predominantly African Americans hang out at. They were having it down there. And I asked him, I went to the store and I seen him, because he usually hangs out in front of the store, the Save-A-Lot store that's in my neighborhood. He usually hangs out in front of that store, selling his goods. So I asked him, and I pulled up to him. He was sitting in his car. I said, why aren't you down to the Juneteenth? I said, they're having a Juneteenth down there. Why aren't you down there? I said, you could be making a lot of money down there. I said, you seem like to me you'd make a whole lot of money down there. He was like, you know what? He said, 40% of my business is white people. This was his exact words, quote for quote. He said, 40% of my business is white people. He said, black people don't support me. He said, most black people do not support me. And, most majority of black people are not supporting me. He said, 40% of my business are white people. Believe it or not, he said, believe it or not, 40% of my business is white people. Now, that's a big percentage. And I said, when I told him, I said, well, most of the time I don't have any money. But really, there's some moral issues that I have with, buying bootleg CDs. But that just kind of made me, I kind of marinated on that. And I kind of thought about what he said. And I said, I noticed that it's really sad, that us black people don't support each other. When there is a black community business in the community, why don't black people support that business? My cousin owned a hair care shop. He owned a black hair shop. The same shop that the Asians and the Indians or whatever opens up, black hair shop selling weaves and all that kind of stuff. Well, my cousin, which is a black man, he owned one of those stores here in my city. And guess what? He winded up closing the store. He stayed afloat for a little while, but eventually he winded up closing the store. Because number one reason was black people would not support. The black people wouldn't support. And that's really sad. He winded up closing the business. It's really sad. Because black people wouldn't support. Now they go run to the Asian hair store, the Indians or whatever, the store that's in my neighborhood that's around the corner. It's a lady. I don't know what race she is. I'm not sure what race she is. She's been open for years. When I say years, I mean years. That store's been open for years. Black people supported hand over fist. She's still down there. She's been down there for years. And black people are steady supporting the business. They've been supporting it for years. Years and years. She's still open. While my cousin, he opened up. Stayed open for a while. And he winded up closing. She's been open all this time. Now that's a shame. Why are we so quick to support other races? Why are we so quick to run to other races and make money? Why? We so quick to run to other races and give them our black dollars. But we won't give them to our own businesses and our own communities. But that's a problem with that. That's a unification problem. See? And it's another thing, black people need to get out of this mentality. Oh, brother, can you give a brother a hookup? You ain't gonna hook a brother up, or you ain't gonna hook a sister up. Come on. Business is business. Would you go into a Caucasian business or Asian business and asking them for a hookup? Would you go into Walmart and say, can you give a brother a hookup? They'll look at you like you crazy. Ain't you gonna hook me up? They're gonna look at you like you crazy. Business is business. Why is it that black people have this mentality that somebody ought to be hooking them up all the time? If you give away your stuff, then you're not gonna make any money. But you'll take your money and you'll go to a business, that same type of business, and you give them your money without any problems, without any questions asked. But when it comes down to a black business, all of a sudden you want a hookup. Black people got to get out of that mentality. We got to get out of this mentality that we got to be expecting some kind of a hookup from somebody. Just because the person happens to be a person of our own race. Now, if you understand business, if you don't understand business, well, do your research. But if you understand business, you understand that you got to separate business from personal. And if you open up a business, you can't give away free stuff just because you know somebody, or even because of that person is a family member. I went into my cousin's store and I bought stuff. I didn't expect to get a hookup. But I admit I didn't support him as much as I should have. But I went in there and I paid for stuff just like any other regular paying customer. I didn't expect for him to give me a hookup. I understood that he was running a business. And everybody, if you know, if you kind of halfway know how it works when you start a business, they say it takes anywhere from 1 to 2 years before you even start making a profit. You got to keep putting money back into the business, and it takes, and that's why most businesses fail within the first 1 or 2 years, because you got to keep putting that money back into the business, and then after that you start making a profit. Well, that takes a minute. You got to build up your clientele. You have to build up your clientele. It's just like the stores like Target, Walmart's, Myers. You know, there's a certain percentage of people that's going to go to Myers before they go to Walmart's. That's the reason why Myers has been able to hang in there. The Myers that in this town where I live at, well, there's 2 Myers stores, and there's one that's out across town, across from the Walmart store. They hanging in there. When Walmart's open next to Myers. What's going on? Everything all right, Edmund? Everything okay? Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I was wondering, was everything going on with my son?
Hi, YouTube.
Everything all right?
Yeah. I'm scared of something.
Just stay in the house.
Alright, Mom.
Turn on the porch light.
Alright.
I'm so sorry. My son come running in the house, and I didn't know what was going on. Anyway, as I was saying, sorry for the interruption. As I was saying, is that both of the Myers store and the Walmart store is like across from each other. The Myers is hanging in there pretty good with Walmart. Walmart don't close down Myers, because there's a certain percentage of people that's going to go to Myers. Certain percentage of people that's going to go to Walmart's. I mean, me personally, I prefer Myers over Walmart's. I just think Myers is better. Not that I won't shop in Walmart, but I prefer Myers over Walmart's. You know, I like Walmart's, but I like Myers better. You know, because you got a certain percentage. So my point that I'm making is that Myers have a certain clientele. They have a certain percentage of people that's going to shop in their store no matter what. Walmart's have a certain percentage of people that's going to shop in their store no matter what. So when you're a small business, you got to build up. That's the type of clientele you got to build up. You got to build up a certain amount of clientele so you can build up your business. You got to get people that's going to come to your store no matter what. Over and above the other hair stores that's in town, or over and above the other neighborhood stores. Well, if you have a neighborhood store, if you're the only one in that neighborhood, then you might be on to something, and you might make money if you're the only one in that neighborhood. But now, if you have a hair store, you got other hair stores in the area. Well, that's called competition. So you want to build up a clientele, to build up get people that's going to specifically come to your store, and maybe not go to the other stores when they want to buy weaves or wigs or whatever. They're going to shoot straight to your store. So that's what you want to do. You want to build that clientele, and it's not enough black support. And that's what's with black people. We got to get out of that mentality that I need a hookup. I want a hookup. The other races of people, they support their people. They support their people. See? That's the difference. And they open up businesses and stuff. They look out for their own. That's the difference. And that's something that black people don't do. We don't look out for our own people. We're like crabs in a barrel, always pulling each other down. This is the reason why other people succeed, and they build corporations. Not just small businesses, but they build corporations. they look out for their own, they stick together. And they not only stick together, they look out for their own people. And that's something that black people don't do. Well, you know, some black people be saying, and I've been guilty of saying myself, well, all they do is hire a bunch of white people. Well, they have laws that say they gotta, you know, hire equal opportunity. Yeah, well, they say that, you know, it sounds good. It sounds good on paper. But realistically, they're going to hire who they want to hire. If they want to hire 80% of their own people, then that's what they're going to do. Hire 80% of their own people. Other 20% is going to be minorities. You can complain about it and say, oh, well, you know, we don't want to hire, it should be 50-50. Well, in a perfect world, maybe it would be. But if this was a white-owned business or corporation, they can do whatever they want to do at the end of the day. You know, maybe they're looking out for their own people. You know, that's something that black people needs to learn to do. You know, is it discrimination? Yeah, in a sense it is. But at the same time, maybe they're looking out for their own people. And that's something that black people need to learn to do. Black people need to learn to look out for their own people. Because nobody is going to come in and build up our communities. Nobody. Nobody's going to do it for us. Why should they? They don't live in our community. Other races of people don't live in our community. Why should they build up our community? You give me one good reason why they should build up our community for us. I'm waiting. They're not going to. They don't live in our community. They live in their own community. Okay? We live in our community. And we need to care more about our communities. We have this crabs in a barrel mentality where we want to pull each other down. Whether it be verbally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. That's crazy. We got to do better, black people. We got to do better. You know, all this gender war going on between black men and black women, that's not helping the black community. It's not helping the black community. It's not helping to build up our communities. It's not helping us build any economic power in our communities. You know, every time you get mad because a black man got killed by the police or whatever, you want to go burning down and looting your own stores. I mean, the stores that's in your own, I don't know if they're your stores, but they're stores that's in your community. They're burning down stuff in your own community. That's stupid. You're destroying your own resources. So now you got to go outside of your community to give them your dollars. Well, that's not very logical. It doesn't make any sense. The other races of people look at us and they laugh at us. Oh, they're stupid. They're so stupid. Why are they burning down their own stuff? Black people, we got to start educating our young people. Up to us older black people to educate the young people. To educate them about this perpetual racist system we have. And how we need to start. Your brother is not your enemy. Your sister is not your enemy. We need to start building up our own communities. Nobody's going to do it for us. Nobody's going to take us by the hand and tell us how to do it step by step. Don't nobody care about us like that. But we got to start caring about ourselves, black people. We got to start caring about ourselves like other races of people do in their communities. They care about each other. They look out for each other. They take care of each other. But we don't do it, and we got to start doing it. Otherwise, we're going to be a permanent underclass. A permanent underclass means that we will always have low economic power. We will never have any economic power, and our communities will always be poverty-stricken It'll always be a high percentage of us that's in poverty. We got to start sticking together. And when we do open up a major black corporation, we got to stop selling it to other races of people. Because we're starting a corporation and we're giving it back to, we're taking that business when we sell it to other races of people. We're taking that business out of the black community and we're giving it to somebody else. We need to keep our businesses and corporations in the black community. We got to do better, black people. Got to do better. You know, it's just the blame game, back and forth, the gender war between black men and women is not helping us. It's not helping us. We got to start sticking together and building up our own communities. You don't see other races of people doing that. Other races of people aren't doing that. They're coming together and they're building up their communities. And you know, we can't blame everything on racism. Everything is not to be blamed on racism, because we have more power than what we realize. We got more power than what we realize. You know, you got races of people that came here on the boat were immigrants. Started from the bottom, now they here, you know, and they built their communities up. And you would say, but we give them a loan quicker. They don't necessarily have loans. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're just hauling up, you know, putting their monies together and saving their monies. And starting their businesses and building their communities up. You know, we need to study other races of people. They say if you want to be successful, study successful people. If you want to be successful, study successful people. You learn how they got successful. And you study that. But black people, we're not going to never get ahead if we keep killing each other. Physically killing each other. But emotionally killing each other. Spiritually killing each other. Mentally killing each other. See, we're killing each other in more ways than one. We're emotionally killing each other. We're spiritually killing each other. You know, mentally, we're killing each other by bashing each other and putting each other down and, you know, dogging each other out. And, you know, it's got to stop. We got to stop it, black people. We got to start building up our own communities. Stop expecting other races of people to give you what you need. We got to stop expecting other races of people to give us what we need. Because at the end of the day, they don't owe us anything. Well, some might argue that we're owed reparations. That's a whole nother video. Not going to get into that. That's a whole nother video. But at the end of the day, nobody's going to come, like I said, nobody's going to come in our communities and build up our communities for us. They don't live in our communities. At the end of the day, they really don't care. It's not happening. It's not happening in their backyard. They figure, you know, we'll go into their community, make money, close up shop, and go back home to our community. What's wrong with that picture? We need to be making money in our own communities. You know, you like to drink up some liquor? Open up your own liquor store. Why you keep patronizing their liquor store? Open up, you like some liquor? You know a lot of people that like some liquor in your community? You open up your own liquor store. You got to start supporting each other, black people. Might talk about this further. Stay tuned. This is Sweet June 2010.